Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? I have a special announcement to share with my fellow American citizens in the United States of America. I want you to know that the infrastructure of the United States is falling apart, and the infrastructure as far as the piping, the plumbing that goes to many homes, many businesses, most particularly businesses that make food, factories that make food, businesses that prepare food. The plumbing to many of these places in the United States is in dire need of repair, and it's in dire need of repair now for many years. You might not know about this huge lead problem that is going on in the States, but it is a massive problem that the media, mainstream media in the United States, is reporting on, but not reporting on in a way that it's in heavy rotation, in a way that shows urgency. What happened in Flint, Michigan, what has happened in Jackson, Mississippi, what has happened in New Jersey, where 30 schools were closed, most recently here in March 2016 in Newark, New Jersey. What happened there with the lead situation in the water in Newark, as well as the other places that I mentioned. And by the way, in Newark, they closed 30 schools, and there was a delay in time before the officials told the school about what the problem was with the water. This also happened in Jackson, Mississippi, where there was a long delay. And in Flint, Michigan, there was an even longer delay. Again, this lead problem is a massive problem, and it's in many other states in the United States as well. In New York, in DC, in Ohio, Pennsylvania, just to name a few, as well as to mention South Carolina. It's widely spread, as I said. Please research it in your favorite search engine. The thing to keep in mind about this lead poisoning and the officials keeping things quiet for whatever reason that they find necessary is that people are still, in the meanwhile, before they find out about the lead poisoning, they are still consuming, they're still washing themselves in the water, in the shower, in the sink, in the bathtub, what have you. People are still preparing foods with this lead-tainted, toxic water. This is during the interim, in between the time the officials find out about the problem and by the time they have a press release and tell the public about the situation, about the deadly situation. Because as you know, well, hopefully as you know, when lead has been ingested, when lead has constantly been put on your skin, by water, taking a shower, taking baths, it gets inside of your biological system. And once lead is there, you have a very short amount of time that you can remove it with a chelation kit or a chelation biological detoxification, a chelation cleanse. And these can be received from medical institutions, or if you would do as I do and as my family does, we get our own chelation kit, or some places it's not a kit, it just comes in a container where you take this powder. Some places have tablets, and it removes the heavy metals from your body. It's a chelation detoxification. When you do this chelation detoxification, it will certainly help you, but you should research to make sure you get the right stuff, the right thing. Research chelation, heavy metals, or removal of heavy metals. Research that in your search engine, just for starters. But this has to be done in a very quick time, as soon as possible, when you are aware of lead being ingested by you. But also, this has to be done even after you may have found out that you have been consuming lead or getting it on your skin or what have you for weeks or months. Still do the heavy metal detoxification because it will help. But I cannot stress enough to research what's the best thing. Start with zeolite. Zeolite, Z-E-O-L-I-T-E. Look up zeolite. That is where you can start with removing heavy metals from your system. And I'm going to do a heavy metals show for everyone so that we all can stay healthy and that we can all stay people who are experiencing a good, healthy quality of life, at least biologically speaking, if you know what I'm saying. Your health is everything. Your health is your wealth. But it is very necessary in the interim of this show about New Jersey, and most importantly, Newark, New Jersey, in reference to the lead problem that is there. It is very pervasive. The officials often play it down, and this is in all regions of the United States where this has been exposed, where this lead problem has been exposed. The officials always play it down, and there's a lot of double talk, and they try to smooth it over, but there's no smoothing over. There's more than enough information on the internet. If you take a little bit of time, instead of looking at an entertainment website, perhaps cut that a little bit in half, at the very least, and start looking up the problems concerning this lead issue in the United States. My name is Otis Q. Pate, here for the Topkats Rebel Connection. Thank you for joining me.
In Newark are being told not to drink the water, the discovery that prompted the warning at 30 schools. New Jersey environmental officials say potentially dangerous levels of lead have been found in water samples at schools.
All right, Linda Schmidt's live in Newark right now with what we know. Linda.
Yeah, good evening to both of you, first of all. Yeah, and also I have to start out with this. This is something that was discovered on Monday. The school district ended up contacting the State Department of Environmental Protection about the issue on Monday, but some of the parents, that has them very upset. This is one of the reasons right here. One parent gave me this flyer. It was up in one of the schools, and it says, do not allow the students to drink from the water fountains or the sinks. But as you notice, the date is March 8th. That was yesterday. Parents were not notified about this until today.
The water in Newark is safe and drinkable. That's important for folks to know.
Newark Mayor Ros Baraka trying to assure Newark residents that the drinking water in the city is safe. However, the city is having a lead issue with 30 schools. A yearly test has revealed elevated levels of lead in the school's drinking water.
The district and the city and the state has been working closely together. The minute we found out what was happening here,
the city contacted the State Department of Environmental Protection on Monday. Some of the levels exceeded the federal EPA standard of 15 parts per billion. Cleveland Elementary School, for example, had 158 parts per billion, and Bard High School 558 in at least one fountain or sink at the school. The school district has temporarily shut off all drinking water fountains at the 30 affected schools. Bottled water has been brought in. In the meantime, the state DEP is now retesting every school in the district.
The purpose right now is to focus very heavily on the school itself, on the schools, and making sure we do both testing and then ultimately remediate the problems that occur in these schools. Again, a lot of these are older schools with older piping, with lead piping or solder that we need to address long term.
Meanwhile, some parents tell Fox 5 that they should have been contacted on Monday when the problem was reported to the state instead of 2 days later.
Just very disappointed. The information should have got out to us a lot sooner.
I'm very concerned. The levels should be tested maybe every 6 months.
Okay, now you heard the state DEP talking about the fact that they are going to be retesting all of these schools right now. They've already started that process. So in that process, all of these 30 schools will remain open. However, the kids are not allowed, once again, to drink any of the water from the fountain or the sink, and they're not able to cook with it in the cafeterias. The mayor is asking that every resident of Newark donate either a case or 2 cases of bottled water to help out the schools. They have some bottled water, but they're going to need some extra backup here. So if you would like to donate, you can go to any of the community centers here in Newark and drop those cases of bottled water off. I'm sure they would really appreciate it.
Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you now straight from the headquarters of the Topkats Pride is presented the unusual but factual and oftentimes controversial Wild News, featuring various international reports that will inform you and keep you in the know while you're on the go. And now, your Wild News reporter, Q. Pate. This is Otis Q. Pate from the Topkats Pride, coming to you with a very important update that I would like for you to share with family and friends in reference to 30 schools in New Jersey banning water from their faucets and water fountains. This particular article is from the Associated Press from March 9th, 2016. The article reads, elevated levels of lead caused officials in New Jersey's largest school district on Wednesday, which was March 9th, 2016, to shut off water fountains at 30 school buildings until more tests are conducted. But officials said that they don't believe the contamination poses any serious health risks. Newark Public Schools notified the State Department of Environmental Protection on Monday, which was March 7th, 2016, that annual testing found levels ranging from non-detected to above the Environmental Protection Agency's action level for lead, which is 15 parts per billion. That lead level requires additional testing, monitoring, and remediation. The DEP, which is Department of Environmental Protection, has requested test results from previous years to be able to do a complete analysis. No building had more than 4 samples above the action level, the DEP said in a statement. An action level has to do with the officials taking action. Next, it says the DEP confirmed lead has not been found in the city's water supply in the vast majority of cases where lead is found in drinking water. It enters through the water delivery system itself when it leaches from either lead pipes, household fixtures containing lead, or lead solder. You know, like the soldering of pipes to connect them, the DEP said. Notices were posted and bottled water and water coolers were delivered to the school buildings in Newark.
This week, water fountains were shut down in city schools due to lead contamination. As Jerika Duncan reports, evidence suggests officials knew about this problem for years.
A memo from the district sent on August 30th of 2014 mandates all schools run and flush each water fountain for 2 minutes daily before school opens. The same steps applied for cafeteria faucets prior to food prep usage. And principals were instructed to tell students and staff to run fountains for at least 30 seconds before drinking the water. Annual water contamination tests at Newark's public schools were conducted between December and February. On Wednesday, the district turned off water at 30 schools after results revealed unsafe lead levels. Evelise Mency's son attends one of them.
I send my son to school every day to be safe. This is his safe haven, and then lead is in his water.
Lead in drinking water should not exceed 15 parts per billion. At Bard High School, one sample had 558. Branch Brook Elementary, 194, while another elementary school tested at 193. Sabrina Oliver says her children's school was impacted.
It's water. I mean, I never thought the water was good in Newark anyways, but that's alarming.
Health officials say it's not Newark's water that's the problem. It's when lead from old pipes and fixtures leach into the water, similar to what happened in Flint, Michigan. Too much lead can damage the nervous system, and young children are most at risk. Next week begins a new round of lead testing at all 67 schools in the district. Gym officials say that the Newark Health Clinic is providing free lead testing for children.
Jerika, thank you very much.
Lead in drinking water has drawn increased attention recently because of the water crisis in Flint, Michigan, which has been going on, by the way, since April 2014. That happened after the city switched from the Detroit system to the Flint River as a cost-saving measure in 2014, as I stated. But as a caveat to that as well, the officials in Flint, including most definitely the governor, Mr. Snyder, they did this action to only save $100 a day. That's what it would have cost for the city, for the officials to approve the water treatment measure that was necessary. However, lead from aging pipes leached into the drinking water because it wasn't treated with an anti-corrosion chemical or with anti-corrosion chemicals. Along with Flint, there's also Jackson, Mississippi, where this problem is also going on. And it concludes here at this particular paragraph that lead in school water is a long-standing issue in the United States and has been a focus of federal and local regulators. Please highlight that in your mind, that lead in school water is long-standing. It's a long-standing issue in the United States. Parents who are concerned can have their children tested for lead at the Newark Health Department. The state chapter of the Sierra Club Environmental Group called for more testing and pipe replacement. New Jersey cities have old, outdated pipes in our streets and homes, which can mean even higher levels of lead in our water. Many of our water systems go back to the Victorian era, and even homes built in the 30s and 40s have pipes made with lead solder or solder. And that was from the director Jeff Tittel or Jeff Tittel. It concludes here that the Newark school system has 35,054 students in 66 schools. So this is a very huge problem that is, again, trying to be downplayed by the officials because, as I will show you, there are other reports that have been long-standing in the media about not just New Jersey, not just about Flint, but about a host of other cities and states in the United States, which also have a very alarming, to say the least, situation. And some of these cities that I've compiled are Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Sebring, Ohio. Sebring is spelled Sebring, by the way. Also, Washington, D.C., Durham, North Carolina. Durham, spelled Durham, North Carolina. Greenville, North Carolina. And concluding my list here is Columbia, South Carolina. Now, here back to New Jersey. New Jersey has a host of cities with this problem, to include Trenton, as well as Newark, as well as Atlantic City, as well as Patterson.
Some houses still have the lead coming through the floor up to your water meter. This is your galvanized pipe. Some houses have that still. And then you have your copper. So basically you got the three different materials that you could have coming to your water meter. You scrape it, and if it's not copper, it'll be silver. That means it's either going to be lead or it's going to be galvanized. If you scrape it and it's copper, it's going to look like a brass color. That's copper. Now once you scrape it and you see that it's silver color, you need a magnet. A magnet will not stick to lead. But if it's galvanized, the magnet will stick to it. Magnet will not stick to copper either, but you can tell the difference in the color. Lead doesn't corrode, it builds up that coating from the phosphates in the water. So that coating right there, that white coating you see, that's actually what got ate off from the river water for 16 months running through this pipe. And now, the lead, just like that, is exposed inside. And that's where the leaching's coming from, because that's in contact with the water now. Until that film builds back up, that's what they're trying to do by putting more phosphates in it right now to build that film back up. Even if you don't have a lead service line, you could have copper, you still need to get your water tested because you could still have high lead counts in your water. Yeah, this layer inside this galvanized pipe, this layer of corrosion, that river water actually ate into that and released a lot of that, and that collects lead over the years. If you've got a lead line coming to your house, that layer has lead in it, and that's being released also from that corrosive water. Now that's going to coat over again eventually. That's what they're telling us with the phosphates being added, but that also has lead that it collected over the years in a galvanized line.
This next article that I want to share with you is from attn.com, and I would recommend this site for in-depth reporting about the ongoing situation concerning the infrastructure, the deteriorating infrastructure in the United States. Again, the website is attn.com. And the author here is Kylie Chong. And this article is February 6th. And I'm going a little bit back further into this situation from here in March 2016 back to February 2016 to show the ongoing articles that are in print publication on the web, but it's not being broadcast or elaborated on in the mainstream media. So if I haven't had your attention before, check this article out. This article says these cities have more lead exposure than Flint, Michigan, and nobody's talking about them. For the past few weeks, the eyes of the nation have been on the city of Flint, Michigan, and for good reason. Last month, a state emergency was declared over the city's lead-contaminated water supply about a year after government officials switched Flint's water source to the Flint River. Many have raised concerns about the severe long-term effects of lead poisoning on youth, and the delay of action and lack of transparency from the city's government has garnered criticism from politicians and advocates around the country. However, news reports are revealing that other major U.S. cities have even higher lead exposure and more lead-affected children than Flint, and it's not just water. That's the problem. Down below here, it says New Jersey's lead problem. This week, local advocacy groups found that children in 11 New Jersey cities and 2 counties have higher lead levels than those in Flint, according to NJ.com, which is NewJersey.com, a local news website. For them, the culprit is not so much through poisoned water, but exposure to paint in windows, doors, and other woodwork found in older homes, particularly in older, poorer cities. Elsie Pivnik, Director of Environmental Health for Isles Incorporated, a community development organization in Trenton, New Jersey, said in a press conference, "In light of the Flint debacle, we wanted people to understand that water is not the only thing that's poisoning children," she added. Most people think the lead problem was solved when we took lead out of gasoline and new homes in the 1970s, but that's not true. Other related information in this article: the unexpected link between lead poisoning and crime. And I would again suggest that for more information, you go to this website and click on that, because that link there that's highlighted can be clicked on. But right underneath there, it says something that's very, very interesting and alarming to me. It says the cities of Irvington, East Orange, Trenton, Newark, Patterson, Plainfield, Jersey City, Elizabeth, Atlantic City, New Brunswick, and Passaic, excuse me for mispronouncing the name, and the counties of Salem and Cumberland have the highest lead levels in the state. And this is in New Jersey, according to reports, and many reports, plural. Down here is a chart, again on this website for further viewing, about the statistics from the New Jersey Department of Health, who revealed that in those cities more children had elevated lead levels in 2014 than children in Flint did in 2015. On this chart, at the top is Flint, Michigan, and you see Atlantic City in comparison. You see how much of a difference there is. And it goes on down, covering all the cities that were mentioned above in New Jersey. And this source is from New Jersey Department of Health.
Well, from our New Jersey newsroom now, there are growing concerns tonight about lead poisoning across the state. Children are getting sick from paint in old homes, and community groups say funding to fix the problem is running dry. New Jersey correspondent Norby Shannick has the story.
Kids are going to emergency rooms and then they're sent back to places that are going to make them sick again. So we're perpetuating a cycle.
A coalition of housing and community development groups is pushing hard to get Governor Christie to fund the $10 million that's supposed to be in the state budget each year to help relocate and clean up homes like this, contaminated with lead.
As soon as I touch that, it becomes bright red, which indicates this is all lead here.
Cities like Trenton, Camden, and Atlantic City have tons of old housing stock filled with lead paint. It's in the ceilings, the walls, and the window frames, continually poisoning kids who live here.
We know that there's 11 cities in 2 counties here in New Jersey that have a higher rate of elevated blood lead levels in 2014 than Flint had in 2015.
That list includes Trenton and Atlantic City, as well as Salem and Cumberland counties. In 2015, 3,100 new cases of lead poisoning in kids was reported in New Jersey, which can lead to permanent brain damage and other issues.
A couple of milligrams of lead paint is enough to put a child at the old danger level of 20 units. Now the level of concern is 5 units of lead.
Since the fund to help lead poisoning cleanups was enacted into law in 2004, critics say the state has diverted more than $50 million of it into the general fund to help balance the budget, a move they call unconscionable.
By not funding these programs, Governor Christie is allowing children to be poisoned by lead.
The group plans to send the governor 3,100 handprints representing the number of kids they say were needlessly poisoned by lead last year. New Jersey Health and Community Affairs officials say lead poisoning cases have dropped dramatically over the last 20 years and remain an important public health issue. However, the governor's office tells Action News it cannot say if money for the lead abatement fund will be in the upcoming budget.
Yeah, this is Q. Who is this? Hey, hello. Are you Topkats Pride? In 2015 alone, there were more than 3,000 children under the age of 6 in New Jersey with elevated levels of lead in their blood. Advocates estimate that about 225,000 young children in New Jersey have been affected with elevated lead levels since the year 2000. However, efforts to reduce lead levels have been unsuccessful. And just weeks ago, New Jersey Governor Chris Christie vetoed a bill that would remove lead paint from houses for the third consecutive time. It says here, ever since media outlets began focusing on Flint, politicians and state advocacy groups like the Housing and Community Development Network of New Jersey, New Jersey Citizen Action, and the Anti-Poverty Network of New Jersey have escalated their own efforts to raise awareness about the lead situation in the Garden State. New Jersey Senator Ronald Rice told this publication, NJ.com, "We've seen the national outrage resulting from lead-contaminated water distributed in Flint. We have our own crisis in New Jersey that cannot be ignored." When you do some research and you look into this lead water poisoning in the United States, you will find that it's pretty pervasive, and you will find that the information that can be compiled is years old. So when I mentioned the cities like Washington, D.C., Durham, North Carolina, Greenville, North Carolina, Columbia, South Carolina, Sebring, Ohio, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Philly and Pittsburgh of Pennsylvania, as well as Trenton and Newark and all of these places in New Jersey, as well as Jackson, Mississippi, and most famously known, Flint, Michigan, there is a serious pattern that has to be paid attention to. And I must say, regardless of how much the officials downplay the situation for whatever reasons that they find necessary, I would like to encourage everyone to start getting your own water and lead filtration system, especially filter systems that are made to filter out lead particles. And these type of filters have to be bought specifically to do the job, and these type of filters have to be bought in accordance to the lead that needs to be filtered out of the drinking water or the bathroom tap water or what have you. Wherever water is tapped, this is where these filters should be placed. And most importantly, where it might go on your skin, like in a shower, in a bathtub, or where you may be consuming it, the water in your home or wherever. Like here in New Jersey, the problem is in the school, in water fountains. Of course, the cafeteria will have problems with it because the cafeteria uses water for preparation of foods. So it's a very widely growing, aggravating problem. And with the filters that you buy, make sure that they're up to the lead level, that they can filter out the lead in the water, because if your filter is not up to par with the amount of lead that needs to be removed, then the whole process is just worthless. It's not even worth doing for the most part, because you will still be ingesting lead. Lead will still be filtering through your machine or the device that you have. I'm Q Pate, bringing to you the wild news reports. Thank you for joining me, and be sure to stay connected to the Topkats Pride while you're on the go. Take care. This has been the Topkats Rebel Connection Entertainment Broadcast.